Welcome back to the Leadfoot Garage, everyone. My name's Evan, and today I'm going to be bringing you another car review. Of course, I haven't had the chance to get out there and meet some of you folks, so we're still focusing on kind of the family cars that we have right now. And don't worry though, car show season is upon us. We will be getting out there. We will be talking to you guys and looking at your cars and hearing your stories to share with everyone that's part of this channel. So those that have subscribed, thank you so much. Those that are out there that haven't, please do. We'll be bringing you lots of great content, interviewing some of you guys, and sharing your cars and stories with the rest of the world. So today we are going to be looking at Milner. Milner is my 1966 VW Bug. This thing we found outside of Myrtle Limousine here in the small town where I live, and it is my second car. Built the motor with my dad, mainly dad. I was working at Taco Bell, lots of overtime to afford all of the performance goodies that we threw at this thing. So dad did a lot of the work. I helped out as much as I could when I could. But yeah, this car is my second car. We got it because it was in very good shape. It was a 66. So we've got the slopey, droopy headlights, which personally I love a little bit more than the straight up and downs. Personal preference, but I'd always wanted. So this is Bad Bug, which you can see on my other channel, The Bad Bug, and this was my grandfather's '66 Beetle. So this is the genesis. This is kind of what started me on my Volkswagen journey. This thing and Herbie were just so influential in my childhood that I wanted a bug. I wanted a fast bug like this one. So when we found this, we just couldn't pass it up. It was too good of a car, too solid, and we just had to pull the trigger. So got a loan, and we got it. And now, I don't even want to tell you how long ago that was because math, and I'm terrible at it. But we basically built this car to be faster than Bad Bug. That was kind of my ultimate goal, to have a bug that was fast and you know, the youth in me wanted to beat everybody, but the ultimate goal was to beat Bad Bug. So we spent lots of time researching and buying good quality parts in an effort to do that. So this thing is, I'm gonna say, probably pretty close to the original green that we had in '66. I don't know if this car actually came in this color, but it looks like a standard seafoam green, or as close as whoever painted it before could get. Some of the things that we've done to it, I love these droopy headlight eyebrows. Gives the car just a touch of personality. We welded in some beam adjusters to lower the front. Now my dad has raised it up because it rode like crap with it down. But again, as an 18-year-old kid, I didn't really care. It was all about that look. We did put some empty short gas shocks on it that were the heavy duties, so they were a little bit better suspension-wise than what this thing came with. We did put on a camber compensator in the back because this thing is a swing axle. When you take corners, the wheel tilts in down here, causing iffy handling. And with the power plant that we had, and an 18-year-old kid who really didn't know how to drive very well, you know, I mean, of course, I was a professional race car driver when I was 18, or so I thought, but to try and make it better suspension-wise, we did a few things to help do that. Still, I think we need some disc brakes and probably some better shocks all the way around to really help the handling of this thing. You know, a lot of people tend to just focus on the motor, make it as fast and, you know, as mean as they can, and they kind of forget everything else. And what happens is, especially on a Volkswagen, you tend to overpower the car, and the car can't handle what the motor is capable of giving it. So with the lowered front end, the better shocks, and the camber compensator, we really improved the handling. And eventually we did drop the rear by twisting those spring plates. You know, the next thing, we got to get disc brakes on the front at least. I wouldn't mind doing, I don't know if it's Bus or Karmann Ghia drums on the rear, because they're a little bit bigger than what the Beetle came with. And I think that should kind of round everything out and make a really nice performance package for this car. You know, the motor's pretty mean, and you know, we want to make sure that the rest of the car can keep up with the motor. So some of the other things that we did, this scoop back here was originally on Bad Bug. My grandfather bought it in the 70s, and we put it on. We knew this motor was big, it was going to run hotter because of the cam, so this thing helps scoop in air, also collect leaves. But for the rest of the cooling, what we went with, the standard doghouse fan shroud, the 36 horse, so that you can work on the carburetors a little bit better. But we also have an external cooler underneath the car with a fan that I just flip the switch on when it's getting hot. We could do a thermostat, but that's the way we went. It's kind of dusty. It's been sitting out at my house under the carport for a few years. But this power plant right here is a 2180 cc engine. Pretty good size for a Volkswagen. Definitely not the biggest. It's definitely not the fastest. But man, this thing, it will scare you. Those guys that have cars that are bigger, kudos to you for being able to handle that, because this is at my current driving capability level. This is about all I can handle. But we got a big cam in it, 1.4 ratio rockers, some CB Performance heads that have big valves. I believe they're the street eliminators. So you know, probably the next step up is something that would probably be considered like a true drag racing type head. Counterweighted crank so that it'll rev smoothly. Wanted to do full circle so that it could rev really high, but just money. So between the heads and the fuel injection, that's where a lot of the money went. So we went with CB Performance fuel injection. You can see the injectors right here. They're a 48 millimeter throttle body. We did change from a 009 to the MSD. Haven't really had a chance to run it much because unfortunately this thing developed an oil leak a few years ago, and when I pulled the fan shroud to look at the seals on the cooler, when I got it put back in, I think I pinched a wire and it just shot the computer. So the fuel injection is going to be coming out. I think I might hold on to it. Eventually, what I would love to do is do one of those hideaway turbos that CB Performance has. And with this fuel injection and that turbo, you know, you're looking at 230 to 250 horsepower out of a 1,800-pound car. Whoa, hold on, man. That would be a ride. But right now, I think in this configuration, we're probably pushing about 180 horsepower. I do have some 48 millimeter IDA Webers that I'm gonna put on instead of the fuel injection. So you know, in talking to a couple of my mechanic buddies, they said, well, carburation works really well for a naturally aspirated motor. Scratch that. Because it's naturally aspirated, the carburetors are probably better than the fuel injection. Once you go to a turbo, the fuel injection will be better because you can monitor everything with sensors than the Webers. So we'll get those Webers put on. I think all I've really got to do is rip out all of the fuel injection, the pressure regulator. I've got to get a new fuel pump because the fuel pump that's required for this is going to push way too many PSI for those Webers. I think they like about 3 to 3.5 PSI, and I don't even know what this thing is at, but it's high pressure since it's fuel injection. So we got the degreed pulley. I know a lot of people don't like chrome. I do. That's how Bad Bug was. Of course, I'm going to be changing that back out to more of a factory look. I was at a car show once and I saw a guy pull in with a Chevelle, and I want to say it was an SS clone, and I think it had 350 on the side, but then he'd put this question mark like, is it? I don't know. So I just love that idea. So in my art class when I was in high school, we had this machine that would cut out the stickers. So I threw that on there. It's a nice little touch. I've still got those hiding somewhere, probably upstairs in my attic. I don't know, I gotta find them, because eventually this thing will get repainted. I mean, you can see that the paint's pretty dull, and we're starting to get rust in areas. And then way up here we've got this big old chip that's just been getting bigger and bigger as time has gone on. So, but we'll step inside here. Again, you know, Bad Bug was a big influence, so I went with this wood grain steering wheel. We got our tack right here. My dad had cut this out for me, so that we could mount this up without ruining the chrome trim, that radio delete block off plate, which I believe is pretty rare. So we went ahead and put the chrome trim on here, but that delete plate is going to end up in Bad Bug. We've got a CD player and some 6x9s in the back with a small amp. My brother had built this tray, cool VW logo there. It definitely needs to be recovered because the carpet's just starting to come up. And since it's been sitting out, we've had a mouse hole, but my brother did these rear quarters and then the front door panels. You can kind of see he had etched out a VW pattern right here, and then there was some flames, and it looked really cool, but you know, through the years and sitting outside, it's all this has come off. So we'll have to redo these, but I do want to keep this seafoam color with this, I'm going to call it an oatmeal tan interior. You know, I'm a fan of the black interiors, nice and simple, but with this green, the two really look good together. So we'll probably keep this. I think the seats can be cleaned up without having to be reupholstered. So in the 60s, no, let's see here. My mom was born in, I better not tell you when my mom was born. She might get mad if she watches this. But Bad Bug was my mom's first car, and one of the things that they did was, I believe they got an Impy wood kit. So it came with an Impy wood handled shifter, the steering wheel, all of the knobs were wood, and then of course the door cranks. So my grandfather put the ones that have this factory look with the wood, and he gave me the ones that are drilled out that actually match the steering wheel. So the wood theme is something that I really like. Reminds me of the old British Jags or even the Mustangs. You know, that would come with that wood steering wheel. Just a really nice look. And plus it's smaller, it's sportier, it feels good in your hands. You know, again, that's all just personal preference. We do have some extra gauges, some oil pressure and oil temperature. I would eventually like to get head temperature. I know that's one of those things that, you know, as you're monitoring the system of the car, that's kind of one of those things that everybody says is a little bit more important than oil temperature is the head temperature, because of it being an aluminum case. Things get too hot, they warp, and blah, blah, blah. One thing that I did forget to mention, as far as the cooling system goes, we did go with a deeper, I think it's like a quart or a quart and a half sump, so that there's more oil in there as well to help keep this beast cool when we're sitting in the traffic light. So we did all that we could, I feel, to help keep this engine running well when we're out there driving it, and you know, kind of stuck in that traffic. You know, the doghouse is infinitely better than what it had before, where the oil cooler was actually inside of the fan shroud. So we've got that. We've got the external cooler along with the fan, and then of course the sump for greater oil capacity. So I think in terms of keeping this thing alive and well, I think we did a pretty good job. One of the last things, this car actually came to us with the pop-outs. Now, I don't know if it was actually ordered with the pop-outs, but when we got it, it had the pop-outs. So that was really nice. Just another little feature. But yeah, so this is Milner. Good to get him inside and out of the weather. You know, I think in between working on Bad Bug and Milner shouldn't take too much. It's just getting the fuel injection out, putting the new carbs back in, and then figuring out what kind of fuel pump I need to run. Like I said, the Weber's like 3.5, 3 to 3.5, I believe. Those of you that have 48 IDAs, not IDFs, IDAs that you run on the street, let me know what you're using as a fuel pump. I had thought about going back to a stock one because I believe that's what they kind of run right there. But then CB Performance also has a rotary that runs that. I don't know if that would be better. So please let me know in the comments below what you guys are running, anything that you've done on that fuel system, because this is completely, you know, foreign to me. So yeah, that's it. Quick tidbit: the way I named him, Milner. So those of you that know, you know. Those of you that don't, there's this really great movie called American Graffiti, and in it is a character named John Milner, and he drives this really wicked yellow Deuce Coupe, set in California in the 60s, back when drag racing on the streets was really the thing to go do, go out, cruise with your buddies, and he was the fastest thing in his hometown. And so I thought, you know what, not that this car is necessarily the fastest, but I like that name Milner. I think it goes well with the personality of this car. You know, I don't know, but that's it. Welcome to the garage, Milner. It'll be good to get this car back up on the road. I'm really excited. Like I said, this is my second car. My first was actually a 73 Beetle that I drove for about a year before we found this thing. Yep. All right. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching. Please click that like button. Don't forget to leave a comment, especially those who know fuel systems with 48 IDA Webers. What anything I can do to help make this car run well. Thank you for the subscribers. Those who aren't subscribers, please click that subscribe button. We've got a lot of content coming. We're hitting car show season. We're going to be getting out there and interviewing you and looking at your car. I want to do the same thing. I want to hear your stories. I want to see your cars. I know there's a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of really cool stories. So that's it. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.